Hello and welcome to day one of our easy watercolor flowers. Today we will be making a simple basic rose. Grab a round brush and I'm just using this Canson watercolor paper for my practice. Let's practice our point press lift. We will be using this in all of our watercolor flowers. So holding your brush loosely at an angle, you will point, press, lift as you drag your brush along the paper. Point, press, lift, point, press, lift, point, press, lift. Sometimes we want to do a compound stroke. So for that, we will do point, press, lift, and then make another stroke, point, press, lift for a compound stroke. Point, press, lift. And then I'm just grabbing another color for fun, another green, point, press, lift for a compound stroke. Let's move on to our basic watercolor rose. If you think of a rose, it will be nice and tight and coiled in the center and get lighter and bigger petals as it goes out. So that's what we'll emulate. So let's get our brush wet. You can use any color you want. I'm going to use this pink matter. We're going to start by making a 6. So just hold your brush at a slight angle and with a really light touch, just make a little 6. Okay, now I'm going to make a C shape that hooks on to this top tail of the 6. And it will be point, press, lift, going around. Now starting behind this C shape, I'll do another one and I'm going to bring it tight up to the bottom of the 6. Point, press, 6, and I can just barely touch the bottom of that 6. Let's do one more going around, starting behind that, and you can see that it is getting lighter as I'm using less paint. You can also dip your brush in the water if you want it to be even lighter. Okay, starting behind this C, I'm going to keep bringing this around, pressing a little bit more on the belly of the brush as I go around so that I get a lighter C shape. Let's try another one. So we're doing a 6 with a light hand, a C stroke at the top that comes around and touches the top of that little tail of the 6. Another C stroke starting behind that current C stroke, bring it right up to the bottom of the 6. Okay, and I've got quite a bit of paint on there, so I am going to just dip my brush in the water just to start lightening it. Okay, starting behind this C stroke, I'll bring another one around. Another one around, and I'm just going to touch that lightly so it can bleed into that. I'm going to dip my brush so I can get lighter. And I'm going to start pushing down more on the belly of the brush as I go around so that I can get some bigger and wider petals. Okay, now what I can do is I can take just a little more of this red matter and I can touch it on the inside of these strokes where there would be more shadow. Now this cheaper paper doesn't blend quite as well as the more expensive paper, so I'll help this a little bit. Just wet my brush, tap tap it on my paper towel and then just kind of help it blend out a little bit. Okay, for a little rosebud, we'll just pick up some of this pink and we'll do our point, press, lift, point, press, lift. And I'm going to rinse my brush just a little bit so I get just a little bit lighter on this bottom. Point, press, lift. And I can leave these jagged up here so it looks like it's a rosebud with a lot of little petals that are furled into each other. Okay, so there's our little rosebud. Maybe I want to do just a little one up here. Point, press, lift. Point, press, lift. Okay. Now, if I want to lift a little bit of this paint here that's pooled, I can dab my brush on my paper towel and just lift a little bit up, just so we have a little variation. For our leaves, let's load our brush up with some green. And we're going to point, press, lift. And I'm actually going to pick up some of this cooler color of green for the other side. Point, press, lift. Okay. Let's try another one here. Point, press, lift. Point, press, lift. Maybe I'll do these little stems going down while I've got this nice green. I can do just some little leaves at the bottom of these buds. If you don't want that bleeding up quite so much, just take a little piece of your paper towel and just pick it up there. Rose leaves will have 3 leaves on their stem, so let's do that up here. Point, press, lift. Come in with a darker green. Give a nice point there. Point, press, lift. Point, press. Maybe this one will make just a little bit different shape so we have some variety. Once you've practiced that a little bit, you can go ahead and add it to your watercolor chart. So we're wetting our brush. Picking up our paint. We'll paint a 6. Then at point, press point along the top. Coming behind that C, we'll do one that comes down right below that 6. Another one around. I'm going to wet my brush just a little so it'll get lighter. I'll just keep bringing those C's around, going lighter and bigger. I'm going to grab some of that peach. One up here just to finish it off. Add a little bit of color in here, the centers. A little bit of darker color in the center. We'll do point, press, lift, and I don't mind if that's going to go a little bit into that other square. I'm going to get a cooler green. The other side. Point, press, lift. Point. Just a tiny one. Just a little leaf right here. Now we have our first square done, in our watercolor flower guide. Join me tomorrow for the next flower.